Good morning. Don't know, don't think anyone's here yet. So I'll just give it a couple of seconds, see if anyone joins. Otherwise, this may be a very short chat, very short live video. Okay. Okay, someone's here. Say hi so I know who it is, please. Sorry, I'm doing this. It's been forever since I did a live, and so I really. Oh, and they're gone. All right. Okay. Oh, CNC Farm, good morning. Hello. How are you this morning? Is it snowing where you are? Because we've got a little bit of snow, just a skiff. So I'm just waiting to see if anyone else shows up. I was hoping to talk about junking for pots and containers and garden garden structures and so on. So no snow, but holding at 25. Okay. Now I'm trying to remember where you're located. Obviously in the States, because you're using 25 instead of like minus 7, -8. So in MO, okay, crumbs. Now I'm having to try and remember short forms. Great. I'm not good with the short forms for a lot of the states. I only remember the ones we used to drive through going to Florida, Missouri. Okay. All right. I know I've watched quite a few of your videos. I don't always get to comment because usually I'll put on videos while I'm doing dishes and stuff. So that's my big thing. That's when I get to actually zone out and watch. Yeah. Yeah. I'm in the Eastern Ontario, uh, between the Ottawa Valley and um, the Rideau Rideau River system. But yeah. So I'm not the only one that likes to just turn on some videos while doing the dishes. So, but yeah, I was just going to talk. My husband picked up this really interesting book for me. Now we have. I don't know if this shows up properly for you, but although we have just shy of 4 acres, only 2 of it's actually usable because the rest is very rocky ravine. But I thought this was such an interesting book. And even though we've got lots of space, there's still a lot of really good information about, you know, more reminders as far as I'm concerned about, growing in pots and using recycled materials in the garden and stuff. Things that you forget. Oh, you're only on a half acre. Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of really amazing ideas in here, and one one thing I really like is it gives you a list of like the top 15 sun-loving crops. Hey, Meriden. But yeah, it talks about top 15 sun-loving crops, shade-tolerant crops, shallow-rooted, high yielding, just to kind of help you to get the most out of what space you do have. So, and how is everything where you are, Marilyn? Are you getting any snow this morning? I'd like to do more than half, but we don't want to get. Yeah. And it's very, that's a really good point because it is so easy to get overwhelmed and to get in over your head, as you said, and um, really, if you get in and you're trying to do too much, you start losing a lot of the joy in what you're doing in the gardening. I find if I'm trying to do many things at once, I find it be quite difficult. Doing vacation week this weekend was beautiful and sunny, but mostly cloudy today. Okay, yeah, we had a lot of sun, for which I was grateful this weekend. Melted a lot of snow. We've got, it's just a dusting that's coming down. It's nothing of any, we're not going to have to shovel. The plows haven't been out. Nothing's, it's nothing that's going to, sorry, I just knocked some stuff on the ground. Nothing that's going to be of any inconvenience, really. The goats don't like it, but yeah, as I was saying, I find if I'm trying to focus on too many things at once, it can be really overwhelming and I lose all my joy. Okay. Okay, we're back down to 1. So I guess I'm not sure who I've got. But yeah, this book that I love, it's you. Okay. I don't know if oh, you're here too. My thing is only saying that only one person's watching. Oh, so, oh well. Silly computers. I really don't trust them. I'm such a pencil and paper kind of person. But yeah, Marilyn, I don't know if you saw this book, Grow All You Can Eat in 3 Square Feet. Hey, Tracy. I was just talking about this book that Jason bought me, and it has some really amazing ideas, lots of really great reminders. And one idea I love, because there were a bunch of old bikes left here on the property, and my son had tried to fix them up and then gave up. But it's using the wheels as a trellis up the side of a fence or a barn. Yeah, it is really pretty. And, I'm thinking of doing that maybe trying to do that on one of our barns, like either on the rabbitry or on the side of the chicken coop or something, because I think that would be pretty. And especially if I'm growing something that's edible for the chickens, then I can just, pick off the produce and throw it down for the chickens. And it's just, I'm not having to cart it all over the yard. And that's actually something I'm trying to do, because Marilyn and I were trying to grow. We're talking about doing rabbit gardens and trying to grow things closer to where the animals actually are, so that I'm not carting it all over the yard. Because, I'm I'm not a young kid anymore, and I've had quite a few injuries over the years. So toting things any great distance is not something that I enjoy. Oh, no. No real luck with the wheat. Darn. Son's baby bed is. Oh, that'll be cute. That will be really cute. I can't wait to see your video on that. Yeah, Marilyn, message me about how you want to do the collab and what you know, we'll talk about that because I think that would be a really good idea to do. Now, mine may end up being more of a bunny slash goat garden, but one thing I've learned is that while rabbits and chickens love kale, and it's very good for them, it is toxic for goats. So I have to make a sign in my garden that's going to remind me, you know, have the label kale and then say not for goats. Because otherwise I know I'll forget and I'll go, oh, here, and toss in a leaf because I'm absent minded that way. So, what are you up to there, T Hand? Hey, Tracy, what you up to? I don't know if it's overcast for you guys too. Quite a few of us have. Well, we're getting a bit of snow here. So, another idea that this book had is they're doing like a drum garden. Now, my only concern is I would never want to use oil drums. They actually talk about using an oil drum for growing things like corn, and that unless it was brand new and never used, I don't think I would ever do. But this book has inspired me to try and start more of my herbs into pots this year instead of trying to grow everything just in the garden. So, and I'm knocking more stuff on the ground. I should have cleared off this area a little bit better, I guess. So, does anyone else like to find old things to reuse and repurpose in their gardens? And if so, what have you used? Um, I know some of you, well, Mary Lynn may have seen that I have an old freezer. Just working YouTube this. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, we have an old freezer that we've repurposed into a raised bed. We have an old bathtub that we have repurposed, and it's going to be for our carrots this year. Okay. Was something wrong, Mary? Did you? Anyways, you were blocked for. Oh no, that's terrible. I don't know why they would do that to you. Your dad gave you an old wire baskets. You'll do a salad bar with them for the rabbit. Oh, that'll be nice. Yeah, milk cartons and stuff. I did a video years ago on different things that I use, and yeah, there were creamer the cream cartons that we were using. Up here we have milk bags, and I used to do my tomatoes in that because that way you roll down the side of the milk bag, put your tomato in, and then as the tomato grows, you can unroll the milk bag. And then you end up with a really deep root system. Hi, Zoe. My old blind dog is walking around and bumping into everything. Sorry. So, yeah, that's what we were doing with milk bags. The only problem with that is you have to have them in a container that has good solid sides, whether it's an old box or whatever, so that they're not flopping all over the place. Because that's a big issue that we were finding is if you weren't careful, they would flop and they would fall over quite easily. But yeah, you get a really good strong root system on it, and then you're not having to try and worry about laying your tomato down and then curling it up to try and get a better root system going for the tomatoes in the garden, because I broke a few tomatoes doing that. Growing in old tires. I did that. Our very first house when we were newly married 27 years ago, almost. Yeah, I that's what I had at hand. There had been a few old tires left in the garage that was there. So we were broke. Our lifestyle, like, we made Value Village and the thrift store look posh. Um, we joked our decorating style was early poverty. So, yeah, that's what I had. And my dad brought me a trailer full of horse manure, which was, as far as I was concerned, one of the greatest gifts. And yeah, we used the old tires at that point. We scrubbed them out with like soap and water and made sure that they were good and clean, but they worked well. They worked really well. Um, I had 2 seasons of that before we could do something else. And then we ended up having to move into a balcony apartment on the 14th floor in town. And so then my gardening style had to change altogether again. And that was everything in pots. We had a tiny balcony, but it faced southeast, so it worked. Manure is always a great gift. Brought your dad 5-gallon bucket, 5 gallon buckets of rabbit manure for Christmas. Yeah, it's funny how how do you make a gardener happy? You give him manure. A baby pool with strawberries. I had we had a kiddie pool that had been for the dogs. My dog had our big dog had poked some holes in the bottom, so it no longer held water. So we repurposed it last year as well, and it was, what did I have in there? I had Swiss chard, and I had the celery that Dave Knight had given me at the conference last year. And everything grew quite well. And that was just a mixture of, that was mostly well composted chicken manure. One thing we've noticed, and Marilyn, I'll have to see if you've noticed the same thing. If we grow our Swiss chard in rabbit manure, when we're eating it, it tastes really salty, like absurdly salty. But last year we grew it back in chicken manure again, and it was fine. There was no overpowering salty flavor. So that was something I was finding rather interesting. Rarely eating it alone. Our favorite way to eat the Swiss chard is we'll saute it in a bit of butter with some salt and pepper, and sometimes I'll throw in some scrambled eggs in with it and just make this great big, I don't know, it's yummy. But I guess because we don't really use a lot of salt in our diet, just because there's so much in anything we do purchase, we don't, when there is something salty, we really notice it. Good morning, Templin Acres. How are you this morning? But rabbit feed has a lot of calcium in it, which gives it the whitish pea. Yeah, I really like to grow my tomatoes in the rabbit manure because it is very high uh, very high in the calcium, and you don't end up with near as much of the blossom end rot. But if I'm not able to plant it directly into, like, have a lot of the rabbit in there, I will, um, I'll put in the ground eggshells and stuff. And then anytime we make hard boiled eggs, I pour that water um, into our tomatoes as well when watering them. I give them that. So try to put a little less around the tomatoes. Too many leaves. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the egg water trick I learned when I lived back in Barrie. One of the big names in gardening over there was Frank Ferragini from Bradford Garden Gallery. And he used to have a spot on one of the morning TV shows in Toronto where he would talk about everything gardening, and he mentioned that. And that's where I learned that trick. And of course, I'm pretty sure he learned it from one of his parents or grandparents many years before. So, but yeah, Templin, we had been talking about this book that my husband got me and all the great ideas it has for growing things, and just what to grow in shady gardens, and how to repurpose, and how to grow intensively in small areas. So I just thought that it was an amazing idea. It also was talking about lots of great repurposed junking ideas. One thing we're going to be doing this year, Jason got me two grapevines last year. And so we've got them in the ground, but they don't have a proper trellis. And so what we're going to do, we found some pieces of the old triangular TV towers that used to go up beside the houses there. And so we're going to spray paint that and put that up in the garden as our trellis for our grapes. And but yeah, we've found all sorts of great things that we've repurposed. At the back of the house, just over the kitchen window, it faces south, so it faces west, so it gets absolutely scorched in the summertime. It's, in the afternoons, it's too hot to be in the kitchen. So we took an old wicker, it was like a credenza kind of unit, like, it had the very 70s. It used to have little drawers on the bottom, or cupboards on the bottom and stuff, but we took the doors off. And so we laid that on its back because it was falling apart anyways. So we laid that on its back. We filled that up with manure, and then we put some 2x4 fencing. And we just put that up, and we have some poles. I did videos on it, mention it in videos and stuff, but we grow either squash or scarlet runner beans up there. It shields the window quite nicely from the sun there. And last year with the scarlet runner beans, I'd have hummingbird wars out there, and literally they'd be just sitting there on a stem and looking in while I'm washing dishes and stuff. And it was the sweetest thing. And it's like, okay, this year it's getting a lot more. I'm putting in even more scarlet runner beans for my hummingbirds, because I absolutely loved it. It was so sweet. So has anyone else done anything similar to any of that for their gardens? Um, Using repurposed items? Um, Another thing we did, we found an old enamel sink. And so it was, we found it shortly after my brother-in-law's wedding. And at the wedding, they had been giving away um, little potted herbs, and we ended up with a whole bunch of mint. So we put the sink in the garden in the shade, and we put a lot of stone underneath the drain for the sink so that it had good drainage there. And now I have my mint growing contained, and I love it. It's so cute. And the birds will come and sit on the back, because it's one of those sinks that have the high back to it as well, and it had the two faucets. So the birds will come and sit on it, or the chipmunks will run up and sit on it. And I just I like trying to do things in the garden that are a little different, but whimsical. So you use mostly dead branches, Marilyn. Okay. Uh, Trying to think of something not used here, but I can't see really. Yeah. It's funny how much we forget about what's buried under the snow when you know, especially come March and everything's still buried, and we're going, okay, what's out there again? And we have to look back at pictures or old videos that we've done just to see, okay, oh yeah, I put that there. That's right. Go back through the notes. I do have a binder that I keep my garden stuff in, but I find that quite often I'll put something in, or I will move a plant and forget to mark it out on my garden plans. So sorry, I've got a fly that's bugging me, and I don't know where he came from, but I know we've got lots of daddy long legs in this house all the time, and it's really, they're not doing their job, obviously, if I've got a fly in the house. Because it's spring. Yeah. Yeah. We've also had yesterday, because the sun was out, we had a lot of this stupid thing. I think he's attracted to my tea. But we had a lot of ladybugs out crawling all over the windows, which is good because I ended up with some white flies in some of my plants. So the ladybugs are eating the white flies. So I'm really trying to encourage the ladybugs right now, because I don't want to get any chemicals to use to spray on anything. Yeah, we can't wait for spring either. Oh, you had snow yesterday. Ew. Well, at least it adds to the water table, right? Refills the ponds and stuff. You had ladybugs all year in the house. Okay. Just oh, Jason will love that. Thank you, Marilyn. He loves your videos, because he says they're so relaxing. He says they're so calming. So he'll like that. Thank you. So roads were, oh no, is your daughter went in the ditch? Is she okay? That's the most important thing. Is she okay? Secondary is, is the vehicle okay? But, vehicles can be fixed and replaced where people can't be replaced. Mom to the rescue, got her picked up into work. Oh, good. Yeah, us moms, we should come with superhero capes, because sometimes it feels like we're just running around and fixing things for everyone and saving things. But it's good that she was able to call you. One of the problems around here, okay, you got her car out. Good. One of the problems around here is between here and Perth, which is the nearest town. I'm not going to say big town because it's got less than 6,000 people. But there are a lot of spots where there is no cell service because there is so much granite. We have lots of, it's a very hilly area, a very rocky area. The Canadian Shield comes right up and makes itself known. And so that really interferes with cell service. So my big fear is always that my son, when driving into work, will end up having issues, you know, and he'll be stuck somewhere where there's no cell service. Tell her not to rely on her phone to save her. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Sorry, my throat is really dry like the last day or two. All the teens winter car kits for Christmas. That is a fabulous idea. Both our kids, when they got their licenses, got winter car kits because, you know, they're necessary. They really are. It has saved more than a few lives by having those. I know our daughter was able to help out someone else because she had that kit in her car. So, yeah, she never wears warm enough clothes. What is it about the girls nowadays wearing these skimpy little coats? And yeah, they never have a pair of mittens with them. My daughter's out of the house, but when she was living at home, I was always after her to take a few extra things with her so that just in case, because, you know, if that car, you know, like her car went in the ditch, if she'd been there for a while and the car had not, uh, you know, not been able to keep her warm, you know, it gets pretty darn cold pretty quickly. Generation clash. Yeah, because I remember, I gotta remember my generation. I remember standing at the bus stop for our school bus, and yeah, nobody did up. Heaven help you, you'd wear a hat sometimes, but heaven help you if you actually did up that zipper on your coat to stay warm, because that just was not cool. You'd have a big puffy coat or something, but it was open so everyone could see your shirt. Yeah. Yeah, 20. Okay, our daughter she'll be 25 this summer. So, yeah, and our son is 22. So, starting to feel like it's like, okay, hey, I wish they were little again when all their troubles could be fixed with, you know, a hug and a kiss and a cookie. You work in a college, so you see things. Yeah, I'm afraid to know some of the things you would see at a college. We had a college uh, right near where we lived, and some of the kids that, well, some of the people we'd see taking the bus there, it was scary. Your mom made you paranoid of going in the ditch at a young age, so you usually had a box of gear in the car. Well, my dad always said that, you know, to be prepared is better to be, you know, stuck needing help. Um, oh, your youngest just turned 3. I love that age because they're still so sweet and so innocent, and everything is so full of wonder. Do you get your little ones in the garden with you? Advice from your mother. Little kids, little problems, big kids, bigger problems. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And unfortunately, when they have a heartache, there's you know, you can't fix that with a cookie and a hug sometimes. Um, Dad was a first responder, so always loaded down. Wonderful. Small sneakers with no socks or just ankle socks and leggings. Oh yeah, like those leggings they do nothing. It's fine to wear under a pair of jeans in the wintertime because that'll help keep you warm. But to wear leggings as pants, nope, they do not keep you warm. And also all the kids, like the whole ripped jean thing. I have one pair of work jeans. I only wear them when I'm uh, dispatching rabbits and so on. And they have a rip across the leg. And I hate it because you feel the cold go in there. I don't know how kids can wear the ripped jeans. My daughter does it all the time. Oldest boy had his first real heartbreak at 20. Aw. Yeah. And the bugs? Yeah, no, I would never buy I never bought leggings. I never bought jeans. Oh, in ripped jeans. Bugs in the ripped jeans. Okay. But yeah, I could not justify. I was the kind of person I could not justify buying jeans that were pre-ripped because I knew soon enough I'm a klutz. So I knew soon enough that it would get a rip in it by itself without me having to uh, buy them pre-ripped. Uh, I was forever climbing fences, climbing trees, um, riding my bike with my brother, and just everyday kid stuff. But even into my teens and early 20s, I was always so busy doing stuff that my clothing had to be really tough in order to last. Plus, maybe it's just being cheap and thinking that they're not going to last as long as regular, ones without holes. So, oh, I'm sorry. This time change, even though we tried to get up 10 minutes earlier every morning for the week before the time change, just so that it wasn't such a jar on us, like it wasn't such a shock to our system. I still do kind of feel that, you know, it would have been nice to have not had to deal with it. Because the only thing that really changes is it means I'm changing the time that I'm feeding my animals. Before, I was feeding them at 3:30 for the chickens and the goats. Now I feed them at 4:30. In the fall, it goes back to 3:30. So it's more of a nuisance than anything. I know they said that the whole time change thing was to help the farmers. It Animals don't care. They want it when they want their food when they want their food, and that's all there is to it. So, but we've been on here for about 40 minutes. I don't know. I don't want to keep anyone too long, but I do really appreciate you stopping by, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And I'd like to try and make this a regular Monday thing. So I hope that you'll be back next week. Your husband joked he could sell his worn out jeans for a mint now because they come pre-ripped. Yeah, that's the same. That was my question. Okay. Oh, whether I was going to do this again next week, Marilyn. So, anyways, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, a good week, and I think I'm going to say goodbye now. Take care. And now, how do I stop this? Yeah, now I have to figure out how to end the live. Okay, chat. Oh, great. I don't even know how to turn this thing off now. I don't have an X in the corner, except the big one. Maybe I'll just turn off internet then, or close the whole thing then. Okay. Bye. I think. Why is this not wanting to? Okay, this is not working.